Travis Wingoodsell. This is probably the most exhausting videos that I do over these 8 years, doing this specific style of videos for you guys. Conference videos. It exhausts me when all is said and done. So, if you're wondering, we won't cover it in this video. But all 14 were in attendance. This is unusual. I don't know how many of you remember or recall or know that typically for conference events or where all 15 have a meeting of some kind, there's always at least one who's the designated survivor placed in a different location. That was not the case today. All 14 were there at the conference center in attendance. And I'd have to go back and check to find out how far back that goes when they first started it. It could have been when they returned from conference or returned from COVID, when they began no longer worrying about designated survivors. I'd have to check, but that's one thing I noticed today when I counted. All 14 were there. And granted, this is the sustaining vote session also, where it kind of is necessary for them to be all in attendance. But I do recall previously that they'd say that so-and-so is the designated survivor and they're at the other building watching from there. I remember those days. So I already talked about the change, so we won't go into that again. It's being saved right now. So the review, no! Hilarious. The one thing that I didn't put in the video, because I had recorded this after I'd heard the first talk, but again, "Rejoice, the Lord is King" was the concluding song. What was the session all about? Dallin H. Oaks as the sustained vote as the president of the Quorum of the 12. That's what they're talking about. You may say it's just a coincidence and there's nothing there. Yeah, you don't know Mormonism as a Mormon. You do not know Mormonism. Don't even go there with me. Again, I am the expert in Mormonism, and as Uchtdorf talked about in his talk, yeah, that's why I'm the expert and you're not. To get knowledge, you have to study and practice. It just doesn't come naturally to you. You can't just pray and get the right feeling. You have to practice. Now, Uchtdorf may be in trouble for this one. He may be asked during the week to revise it. So a new video will be made. Like Elder Pullman from October Conference 1984. But for right now, this is it. And so if you paid attention to his talk, he talked about gifts also. You know, you can receive gifts, but you still have to practice to make them the gifts. And so the scripture, section 107, verse 91 and 92, the gifts of the head of the church. Joseph Smith wasn't a natural. He had to practice to become who he became. And likewise, each and every single one of these title guys, if they're going to claim to be a prophet, they should have been practicing. If they want to be a revelator, they should have been practicing. If they want to be a seer, they should have been practicing. They wanted to be a translator. Oh, they don't even claim that one. That's why they don't practice it. This is not understood by the membership from the comments I receive from members who think they're going to condemn me. To be the head of the church, you actually have to practice. It doesn't come natural. They don't lay their hands on your head and poof, you've got mantle powers. It doesn't happen that way. Uchtdorf also blew it when he said Jesus is superhuman. Superhuman, by definition, is not a super soldier of Nazi Germany, of the pure white master race, but they're referring to it in the sense of not real, like Superman. Not real. Superman is not real. There is no Krypton. It doesn't exist. Don't go there. Don't try fooling other people that it is there somehow, and that those Jews who wrote about Superman knew something that they're keeping a secret from us. It's true. Historical documents. No. Hollywood entertainment is Hollywood entertainment. It has real people, now AI, but real people who act and are hypocrites, from the old Greek word for the plays of the actors pretending to be somebody they're not. And so all of the scriptures that science says is not literal history, you don't tell them that they are wrong and that the Bible is the literal history truth. No, you listen to them and you go, okay, wait a minute. Is it possible that it could be something else, like, maybe a prediction of the future? With calendar dates and clock times for revelation? Visions and dreams? In the languages of Paleo-Hebrew and Egyptian? Oh, right. Prophet, seer, revelator, translator of Paleo-Hebrew and Egyptian, with the keys of Moses, and thus all of the Exodus similar pattern stories of Scripture. The protagonist is a man like Moses, for a reason. Those Jews, they know what they're doing. And so this is a form of literature that I am not really seeing get discussed, because as Joseph Smith likewise recognized, and the Methodist preacher he talked to confirmed, Christianity denies the gifts of prophet, seer, revelator, and especially translator. That's why they have a bishop at the head of the Catholic Church, and a female at the head of the King Arthur Church. That was in the news yesterday. It is a big difference when people misinterpret or create other interpretations of the original author's works. You don't want to turn the Canterbury Tales into literal history, do you? Oh, you do? There are some who do? Yeah, like that Monty Python and the Holy Grail. And so yes, it all has to be practiced. It doesn't come naturally. You don't have to exercise, or you can't skip exercising. I got Andre the Giant. We're going to give an homage to him. I don't even have to exercise. That was a joke. You're not supposed to take him seriously. Anybody want a peanut? I did catch with Uchtdorf, though. Setting your hearts to Zion. Getting out of Babylon. That's my line, Uchtdorf. But we're waiting. It's not time yet. God, it's going to take forever. It's going to take forever. It's going to take forever. And so, in finishing, the Relief Society presidency, wow, they were all falling asleep while standing up at the end there. Which, Oakes is going to come down hard on them. If you don't know Oakes, he's a taskmaster. He is an authoritarian to the extreme. He is very strict. He demands obedience. He demands nobody record him. And appearance is very important to him, that you look the part. And so at the end, you'll notice that several of the apostles were all primping themselves. They're the newbies. And so, yes, Oakes is gonna strain and stress them out to the max during his tenure here as the new king. Rejoice! The Lord Dallin H. Oakes is king. Also, was it Uchtdorf also? I think it was Uchtdorf also. He was referring to the Knights Templar signet. I noticed that also. Uchtdorf. You got to pay attention to the wording of these guys. You got to know the backgrounds of what they are talking about. Because they will sneak stuff by those who do not know. And Irene and Holland were both in the wheelchairs that I noticed. Oakes is at the hunchback stage, and he did have an assistant security guard packing heat to blow anybody away who dares to molest or make afraid. Like that one who said, "No, get him!" And if you don't know security at the conferences, yeah, that person who yelled out, security would have immediately been attracted to that position and found that guy and removed them. Which was why Irene was then smiling. And if you don't understand how they remove you, well, I refer you to when the Mormon threatened Hunter at BYU. That will give you a clue. Church is true. So, yeah, I have to wait for this one to save before I can do this next one. But, yeah, this is historic. Whether you hate my guts now or whether you're laughing along with me, but you may not fully understand what I'm talking about because you didn't practice. And so, yes, we're waiting for Armageddon in the sense that if you've thought that Armageddon was going to go a certain way, you're going to be wrong. You need to see it through their eyes to know and understand what's going to happen with that. Armageddon is world war. Everybody at war. Just mass chaos. Nobody wanting peace. If you heard about Trump coming out and saying, "Yay, Hamas agreed." No, they didn't. No, they didn't. I told you they wouldn't. They're not going to agree to just quit and no longer be the militant security for Gaza. They're not going to allow Israel to remain. No, they are not going to stop until Israel is gone. And that's just not an option that's on the table. Nobody in the world is wanting to understand this correctly. The whole world has turned on Israel. That's Armageddon from Revelation 16. And so it's set up. And so as Palestine keeps begging the nations of the world who said they now support a Palestinian state, which was a huge mistake, they're already demanding that these nations give them money, give them food and other support and medical support, and give them military to go up against Israel. And these nations, even though they came out and said, we now acknowledge a Palestine state, they aren't going through with it. It was just a token thing that they did, but they're all holding back. Whether they know and understand Revelation 16, I'm pretty sure they do. Just as Biden understood he has to back off of Putin when Putin went in against Ukraine because of the Sisters of Fatima of the Catholic Church that he is a part of. There are reasons for why these leaders do what they do and how they are able to get suckered into it to do it. They are being led and manipulated by the 1% of the 1%. And I've told you who they are, and you should know by now, even if it's just your spiritual witness feelings that are telling you who it is that I'm referring to. So yes, that's what we're waiting for. And so as the world is at war, nuking each other, blowing each other up, murdering, death, carnage all over the world, the church is hoping to be insulated from that in this valley. That yes, there are those apostates here among us who've got to go, and Cox is preventing Trump's ICE to get rid of them. Only getting rid of a few people to frame and blame for other national world news murders. But yeah, this is all happening. This is real. Oaks got leaked last November from 2020. This is Armageddon year. This is it. And if you don't understand that, if you're living in denial that Armageddon will be all roses and happy times and yay, church is true, you have no idea the horrors that are coming. So whenever Trump decides to send in the military into America on the streets and starts locking up the press, locking up the political opponents, locking up others, shutting down news channels, and just totally gutting the federal government, handing over authority to the states that are supposed to run themselves. And I am still amazed at how stupid everybody is on this. They know what Trump wants, and yet they're still not fully implementing it, except for Texas, of course. They've always wanted to be their own nation. But here in Utah, this past week I covered a person who was arrested by ICE, finally. One. And he's documented. He's legal, according to the old way before Trump took over. And that's what the rest of the nation is not getting either. When he first took over, he says, I'm going after the illegals. And he wasn't going after the illegals. He was going after innocent people who've done no crime. And so the deep state Antifa press are reporting this. He's locking up innocent people who've done no wrong. He's arresting citizens. Yeah, because they're illegal under Trump's definition. Nobody is understanding this. So now he's now labeled illegals as Antifa and has signed an executive order saying that they are a terrorist group. And people still aren't getting it. Oh, Antifa, political opponents, huh? Masked marauders, and Fox is perpetuating this. They get a former Antifa exposing the truth on their shows, and he's covered up with a mask, just like ICE. Revealing all the deep, dark secrets of Antifa. Yeah, we're well organized. We're all over the nation. We're gonna destroy everybody. Trump is holding us back. Trump. We need to get Trump out of the way so that we can destroy America and put Biden back in. This is not entertainment. People's lives are being destroyed. People are being murdered. And this is not a WWE match, but this is how it's being treated. So yes, we need Zion. And it ain't going to happen until the Final Four happens. The fall of the great and abominable church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. The transfer of authority to the not superhuman, who is the man like Moses, with the actual gifts that he's been practicing by inspiration his whole life, using Joseph Smith as his inspiration to lead Mormons in an exodus to Zion and build it. Until that day comes, we are all doomed. Book of Mormon is not about happiness and joy and rejoicing about how the gospel has been restored. It's a tragedy. They all die in the end. Until Mormons wake up to that reality, I don't know how this is going to happen. We're all doomed.